first of all, thanks so much for taking the time to be here, guys. It's great to catch up, and you guys are only just down the road, so it's awesome. So kind of the first question I ask everyone that comes on is, how'd you get your job?
It's a job, is it? I think we did this to get away from jobs.
Yeah, I think we stumbled into this by doing multiple things that then ended up here.
Yeah.
Because at the start it wasn't this.
Yep.
It was, it was like from SEO web designy stuff to seeing like a gap in the market for a product, which was a sort of more not heavy machine, but a bigger product.
Yep.
That we could source, take to market, do that, 3D printers, that kind of thing.
Yep.
See a gap, do something there, and just learn and find out parts of business that we didn't like, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
And then we sort of narrowed it in from there to be actually something we would like to do would look a bit like this. And then it was probably also, I've said this before, but is seeing, what's possible. Because there's like the dream of what you want to do, but then there's what is achievable at that time with the resources you've got, with the tools that are out there, and there's a lot of good free, tools.
Yep.
And at the time we started this, I think a lot of the barriers to entry were falling down, like crowdfunding, Shopify with, e-com, payment gateways.
Yep. 3PLs.
3PLs is a
shipping.
massive one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Manufacturing in China.
Yeah.
Or more accessible manufacturing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I look back at the 3 years before we did that, and a lot of stuff I tried, got to a point where, nah, it's not right. Don't enjoy that aspect of it. Put it to the side, try something else. And you spend a lot of time going through ideas that you think might be right, but when you get into them, you're like, actually, there's no way I'm going to do this full time. It's going to drive me nuts. So you cross that one off, and then all right, what's the one beyond that means I don't have to do that aspect of it. So a lot of learning in doing more so than just reading about it. Yeah.
I think the other thing is being from Melbourne and Australia, not the biggest country in the world, having the ability to be like that global from day one kind of thing. We sort of always had that mentality because just the numbers work out that doing what we do, you have to, had to have had that. And it's not that many years before you wouldn't have been able to do it, not without a lot more cash than we had.
Yeah. A lot harder.
You
could have done it, but it would have been 10 times harder.
Yeah.
Probably would have given
I mean, I'd say it's 10 times easier now than when we started. I look at so many things we had to hack together, and now you can do it literally within a couple of hours online.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you guys are bootstrapped.
Mm-hmm.
When did you guys start? And you guys started with a Kickstarter, right?
Yeah. This part of our business.
Yeah. So you started the Quad Lock with a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And how long ago was that? 2000.
End of 2011.
End of 2011.
Yeah.
You were one of the first. Well, were you one of the first Australian Kickstarters?
Yeah, but not for Quad Lock.
Yep.
Opener, the one we did before. It was one of the first. There was a play that had been on.
Yep.
Yeah.
We were one of the first products.
I think we were.
Yeah, but we were also in the top 5 funded products in Australia for like a few years, I think.
Yeah, for a long time, actually.
Yeah. And it wasn't that big, that was mid.
This is back when $20,000-$30,000 was a good project.
Yeah.
Now it's a bit different.
Yeah.
And we literally used Kickstarter for what it was worth. It was funding a project to validate that there was a market for it and raise the money to go ahead and make it.
Yeah.
Whereas now you see people, going multi-million-dollar projects, but that's more of a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
They've actually already manufactured it, got it ready to go. So as soon as that campaign's finished, they start shipping.
Yeah.
Whereas we were the ones of you get the money, then you order the tooling, you 3 months down the track, and you took the people through that journey of manufacturing it with all the ups and downs and getting the product out.
Yep.
Whereas these days, if you do that, people just start screaming, saying, why haven't you shipped? Because I'm sick of waiting for months and months for you guys to send this product out.
Yeah, gotcha.
If you watch our first Kickstarter video, it's not very good, so probably don't bother.
We might bring it up on the screen.
I think we spend like half the time explaining what crowdfunding is. We're doing this project and it's going to look like this, and we're making this thing. It's called, and we're going to crowdfund it, and this is what it is. Like, no one really knew what that was, especially at the time. I remember after we did that project, the opener. And even after Quad Lock came out, then Kickstarter built their back end.
Yes. And
you could see the stats, and it was like 99% of the people who backed Opener were all new.
First time
First time they'd ever they'd ever been on Kickstarter.
And a big Aussie contingency as well, which they had to back it in USD, which is another level of resistance.
And at that time, you had to do it through an Amazon payments account. You couldn't do it through PayPal or credit card or any of this stuff. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, great. That's crazy. So talk to me about like Opener, and then you guys have moved on to Quadlock. The kind of the commonality is working with basically iPhones and using the iPhone case as a way for people to solve another problem they might have in their life. Opener was with opening your
beers,
bottle, your bottle or beers, and then Quadlock is mounting a device to your bike, because we all know that if you want to get around, how do you get around without it? Like it is such a smart, useful product. Like I ride a bike, and if I don't know where to go if I'm lost, and I can't get it if you don't use the Quadlock, because you've got to mount it in, right?
Well, that's literally where the idea sprung from. Was iPhones launched back in 2007. Google Maps, really good way to get around, but you need some way secure to attach this to. It's not just bikes now. We do it for motorbikes, for cars, for people running, jogging. So it's really the smartphone. I see has become such a key, integral part of everyone's lives. It's almost negative to a point where you see people just face down looking at a phone walking down the street. But you rely on this thing so much to do so many things. And there's applications where you need to use it that you can't use your hands to hold it. So you have to have some way of securely mounting it to whatever you're doing, whatever activity that be. And that's where we fit in, is providing that really secure, stable mount to securely hold your phone doing whatever activity you choose to be doing. We've got our core markets that we're pushing into, but we've got people using it on hang gliders, kayaks, quad bikes, choppers.
Wow.
All kinds of stuff. Like you name it, someone's done it, and they've used our product to mount their phone to it.
Yeah, that's crazy. So tell me, before we move to Quadlock, which is kind of your biggest focus, right? What happened with Opener? Why did you pivot? How did you decide to move and focus on Quadlock?
We saw Opener as a bit of a guinea pig. A bit of an experiment.
So there was an idea for Quadlock before Opener?
There was actually,
Okay.
Yeah. But it seemed bigger and harder to get off the ground at that time. And Opener was literally, there's all these tools, there's all these cool things we could use. There's an opportunity there. What would the product look like that would fulfill an opportunity?
And
then we sort of come up with the Opener. It was literally a phone call like on a Sunday night. And
how about this?
This would be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. But I think the two commonalities, like getting back to your original question, is that we're solving a problem, but we're piggybacking off something that's much bigger than we are and much larger. So there's a pull for this from a market that's already made, it's already there. We're not making the market, so to speak. And I think with the Opener, we definitely didn't have to make the market. People had iPhones and they drank beers and they couldn't open. We did actually have to make the market a bit with Quadlock, probably more than we expected.
They're very different purchase.
Very different.
Like the Opener was very
fatty.
It's an impulsive buy. People saw the ad and it was a price point where it was just an impulse.
They loved it or they hated it. Some people hated it.
I'll buy that for the weekend because I'm going to a mate's barbie, and if I can whip out my iPhone and crack open a beer, it's going to be great fun, conversation starter, things like that. But that was where it started and kind of finished. It was very impulsive. You'd show your friends, people might buy that. With Quadlock, they're actually out there searching for a solution. They've got a problem, they want to mount their phone on whatever they want to do, so they're out looking for a solution. So that's something they actively go and look for, whereas Opener was something they'd stumble across or they'd be told about. So very different purchasing
we put
decision.
it in front of them mainly.
We do, But they're looking, they are still, people are still trying to solve a problem in that case. You don't have a problem of needing to open
I think
a beer
it's
with your phone all the time.
even a lot of the time, it's if they're not searching for the problem, they realise the problems exist. They may not realise there's a solution, but when you show them the solution, they're like, actually, I have that problem. And then they grab it.
So did you guys identify this problem, that there was a market in Google search trends?
We do use trends a lot for different, more specific. Because now we do so many different things. So when we're looking at like one of my favorite things trends is like, what should I call something? Is it a smartphone bike mount? Is it a a bike mount for iPhone? Is it, and
Yeah.
it turns out it's the iPhone bike mount,
Ah.
and how people refer to things, because, we can all, we all speak the same language, but we say things differently.
Yes.
And we say it in a different order than you're expecting to hear it.
Yes.
Sometimes it'll just go over your head. And with today, we're going through stuff so fast.
Yeah.
If you can't expect any customer to join the dots anymore, because they're getting so much information all the time. You've got to join all the dots. You've got to give them the solution, and you've got to make them be able to check out in a single tap if possible. Like, you've got to do everything you can to make it super easy. So that's where I really like trends and things like that. I think more so than, it's good to, as a bit of a validation of an idea sometimes.
Yep.
But we've tended to go into markets a lot of the time where, if we wanted to only sell to the people looking for it, the markets wouldn't have probably been big enough at the time.
Yes.
Because it's too early.
Yes.
So we spent a lot of time, energy, and money building a market for both, especially for quad lock. It was, this is what you should be doing. This is what you should be using. This is a cool way of, solving this issue that you have. Because sometimes, if you're not aware that there's something out there, you're not actually seeing the issue.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those things where you've got a solution, and if no one's searching for the solution, you've got to tell them that, hey, there's this thing, that's the way you should be doing it. But if you sat there just waiting to be found, not enough people would find you to make it a scalable, viable business.
So I guess one thing that a crossroad that a lot of people go by, that you guys obviously went by, was you had opener, but you still had the idea for quad lock. How did you determine to position and move your focus towards quad lock, and how did you know to give it up, right? And to move on, because that's a really difficult thing. How do you know if you,
It wasn't really a.
Yeah.
We had a lot of things overlapping there,
Yeah.
like lots of things.
So that, we never intended to stop doing the opener.
Yeah.
The quad lock was just something that, it was about 6 months between the two projects.
Yep.
It was like, cool, we've learned how to get things up on Kickstarter, we've sorted out the e-commerce side of things,
Yep.
the fulfillment, everything
Yep.
else. Now let's roll this one in and roll it out. And that one, with quad lock, it was more of a slow burn. It didn't have that initial massive spike in attention, and it didn't get the media attention that the opener did.
Yes.
It didn't have that kind of resonating
X-factor.
thing. Like at the time,
It wasn't quirky.
Yeah, iPhones were still new, crowdfunding was still new. Put a bottle opener on an iPhone case by Aussies, it was pretty cliche, so it got a lot of media attention.
Yep.
Whereas quad lock was a slow growth up in building that market for us. People weren't actively looking for it at that point in time. But I guess the real tipping point for the opener was really just being ripped off.
Left, right, centre.
Really?
China,
Yeah.
So we were dealing with I won't name names, but a beverage marketing company that wanted to use our product to market a certain beer.
Yep.
And they kept pushing and pushing, and obviously we were naive at the time and weren't pricing it at the correct point to make it suitable for them.
Yes.
And in the end, they just went off and found a manufacturer that could do it dirt cheap. And that manufacturer obviously did do it dirt cheap and didn't make much money out of it, but had the tool, so took all the branding off and just started flooding the market, piggybacking off our marketing. So that was kind of a deep lesson in making sure you've got good IP protection, trademarks, all those in place to prevent those things happening.
The other part to it is just invest in the brand, because you've got your trademark, you've got your IP, and we've used them and we've done a lot with them.
Yes.
But if you can, you just want to make people want your brand. So that, there's this product here, and someone wants to put something on their bike or in their car or on their motorcycle, and they see all the cool kids are using this. Yeah. And they read our blog, and they see that you're putting out quality content, they watch your videos, and they look at the product, and they see it's considered, and then they go, actually, no, this is where you want to go and get this kind of product. And they're the people that come back and continue to buy from you year in, year out.
And that's where there's differences in the two products as well. The opener being an impulsive product, you didn't really care so much for the brand.
No.
Yes.
If it broke, it didn't matter because you maybe can't open beers, but it's no drama.
Yeah.
With something like quad lock, you're putting a fairly expensive phone in a potentially high risk situation, so you want to make sure you're buying a quality, trusted product.
Yes.
And that's where the brand has really been so crucial to helping quad lock achieve the success it's got. it wouldn't have really applied so much with the opener because of the different styles of products. And
I think with the opener, people were more bought into like us as the brand, like two guys just having a crack at something. Yeah. That was the brand.
Yes.
Where Quadlock now is just a standalone.
I think there's even that much of a brand behind it for some. Like that's why it sold so well as a cheap product on.
No, true. I mean the bit of the following we did have was because of that. Is what I mean. Yeah. Where I think now, Quadlock's just. If it pops up on Reddit, like, oh, I've got a Ducati, this, that, like, what's the coolest way? Like, Quadlock,
But just on that too, like, we didn't have the patents or trademarks, or we had trademarks for the opener.
Yeah.
But if we had our time again, I don't think we would have done anything differently, because if we didn't have the money to go spend on all this IP protection as the first product we ever did.
Yeah.
And if we invested all that money in IP and trademarks and everything to protect it, we wouldn't have had the money to actually take it to market. So we would have had a protected idea and no product.
Yeah, that's
a lot of crazy inventors
no IP,
walking around with the best idea in their brain and never going to tell anyone.
Yeah.
And no one will ever know about it. No one will ever see it.
Yeah.
At least they won't get ripped off though.
Although eventually someone will come up with the same idea and then they'll be kicking themselves.
Yeah. It's the serendipity of the world.
Yeah.
People have similar ideas at the same time, just because everyone's got similar influences these days.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's come back to the branding piece around Quadlock, because I agree, you guys have done an exceptional job with the brand, and you guys are the market leaders in this space. You've invented this category. Apple even stock you guys, which I think is like a testament to itself. Like Apple would only be a reseller for a really high tier product. Yeah. So, what kind of advice, besides obviously you guys have a really, really high quality product, what kind of advice would you give to people that are starting to launch their physical products based business and want to build like a brand that has really strong reputation in the marketplace besides the quality of the product? Like, what else have you guys done?
I think like right at the base of it is just understanding the user, understanding the customer really well.
Yeah.
And I think, we learned this as we went. I think early on we just, we're just showing this widget doing this thing.
Yes. But
you've got to be so considered about everything around that widget and what's happening, and you've got to make content almost for like one person. So, if we're doing, a good example is our bike mount.
Yep.
We know like there's a few different markets that it fits into.
Yep.
One's a road cyclist, and their age, and we know who they are and what they like, and then you've got a mountain biker, and then you've got a commuter, and we've got these different markets that we can tailor content to, so that when you watch one of our videos, say you watch one of our lead gen kind of things.
Yes.
We may just be having a very short lead gen, and it's just focused at you, the commuter. Yeah, and you'll go, actually, that's me. That's what I do. I get my coffee and I click it on and I ride to work. Like, that's who I am. But then if the road cyclist sees that, it's the same widget.
Yeah.
It's not going to convert. Yeah. Even though it's serving the same problem, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But then when he sees, a dude all in Lycra, glad on a really nice bike, click it on and jet off, he's like, actually, that's me on a Sunday. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to go get the same product as the commuter, but it's positioned differently. And so when you start understanding what the customer, who they are and what they like and what they do and what they're into, and then you take the widget itself and everything around that widget and you tailor everything around it to them.
Yes. Straight
away in there, because there's a lot of, in what we do, accessories especially, there's a lot of junk out there, and then there's a lot of stuff that's okay-ish, but it's not taken, they'll show the same ad to everyone, or they'll have, when you land on their website, it's one of a million products and you've got to find it to put it together yourself. It's not that, you say Quadlock to someone who knows us, and that means, secure mounting, the best on the market. They have all these kind of assumptions about the product because it's been, told consistently over time.
Yep.
In a way that they understand and that they accept and that they want to see, and then they want to see more of it, and they want to know what else is available, and they want to learn more about it. And so I think it's that understanding and then the consistency behind it. And it's it's not something that we were awesome at, but I've definitely seen as we've got better at it, the results get much better. And consistency in time in the market, I think it is hard to go, now I've got a strong brand.
Yeah.
You don't.
You
don't
can't.
Keep
You
building
don't
on
build
it.
a brand overnight.
You
like,
can't.
I think Seth Godin was talking about the other day in his little email things he sends out, and it's like he goes, your brand isn't your name and your logo.
Yeah.
And that is, it's what you've represented over time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that consistency, like you're saying before, quality is one thing.
Yeah.
I think there's two core things to it, and the one is to have the best product on the market with the highest quality.
Yep.
And we all use our own products, and we look at a competitor's products like everyone else would do too.
Yeah.
But if we don't think that our product is better than the competitors' products, we need to improve ours. So I think that's one key. If you're not hitting high quality and you don't think you've got the best thing on the product that you personally are happy using and saying this is the best stuff out there, then you need to step up. And then it's doing that consistently over time. Because, like Rob's saying, you don't build your brand up overnight, but if you are consistently putting out good products, you'll build the reputation, you'll get the reviews, you'll get the feedback, and it's word of mouth.
I think
like, there's
word of
so
mouth
many
is
products we sell from word of
Yeah.
mouth. We've got people that come in and say, look, I've researched your product and I've seen the thousands of positive reviews online. I've spoken to my mates that use it.
Tens of thousands
No-brainer.
of reviews, yeah.
The amount of people that buy it just because their mate started using it and
Yeah.
they said, this thing's the best, you've got to get one.
I think
You can't beat that.
I think the other thing is, along with the quality of the product, is the experience, the overall experience. Like, buy it, have it arrive, put it on the bike, use it, and then, because we all buy something, we're pumped about it, then it comes, you're like, oh yeah, it's all right or whatever. But when someone we know that if we ask for a review 2 weeks after someone buys it, we're much more likely to get the review. But then, we get really solid reviews, every single day. They're just flooding every day.
Yeah.
People generally do feel really good about it after they've had the product, and it becomes part of what they do, part of their life. And then when the new iPhone comes out, they're going to buy it, and there's so sort of a brand loyal to Quadlock. Now we get when the new iPhone comes out, or Samsung or whatever.
Yes.
We'll get people sending us photos of their phone in a box saying, "I can't open it until my new Quadlock gets here because I can't live without it." So
that's crazy.
yeah, it is really cool, and it's that consistency that Sipri's talking about.
And that goes down, like if they've had the product before, they're expecting that same level of consistency on the next case they buy.
Yeah.
Or maybe a bit better.
Yeah, and we've managed to step it up each time we do a product. Yeah. And if you get to the point where, you can probably reach a plateau where you can't make it any better, but if you drop down in the quality or you start skimping on things, when they're expecting this level of quality, that's when you're going to start losing your reputation for your brand. So
and
you do set a pretty high bar that you have to maintain.
Yeah.
If anything, and I think that goes throughout once again the whole experience. Like just things like shipping notifications. Like these are small things, but it's the whole experience. It's that they've already got a Quadlock, but then they see the next video come out and they watch it and like, oh, that's even better again. Like, I'm into these this brand and what they do and what they put out. They go to the website and it's the next level up again, and it's just because we have lots of people chasing us and copying us.
Yeah, I can imagine
in this market, right? Yeah. But it's what do we do to always, they're aiming for where we are now.
Yes.
So we've got to be working on being here. So then when they do hit where we are now, we're already ahead.
Yeah, they're replicating and we're innovating. So we're just we're looking what's possible, and they're looking like we've got to catch up to this.
Yeah, I see. So I think there is a lot to be said about what you were saying, Rob, around just really knowing your customer avatars and the people buying your product and tailoring your marketing to them. We've had a lot of success by really reverse engineering that with Foundr and getting that super dialed in.
Hard to do when you're brand new.
Yeah, hard to do when you're brand
hard.
new.
We did it.
We did it.
You make assumptions.
Yeah.
Then you prove yourself wrong.
Yeah.
After you've made the assumption and you've sold some units and you've got some customers, and then you work it out and then you go back and make it better.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're all going to be wrong, and the quicker we find out how wrong we are, the quicker we can get more right, but we'll never be right. I think that's the
100% right.
Yeah.
So coming back, let's say somebody has an idea for a physical product. What do they do? Kickstarter. You guys recommend Kickstarter? The first way to validate it.
Yeah.
How come you guys haven't done another Kickstarter in a while? Like, you guys know that whole game. Some would say you'd be crazy not to, right? Because you know that whole game and it's super powerful. To validate any of these innovative ideas that you have.
Yeah.
Or
we've got a pretty big market ourselves that you can kind of use to validate your own products. So you don't need to go fresh to a blank market.
Yep.
But Kickstarter is definitely hugely valuable. I think that's the first step in any new product idea, is to validate it.
Yep.
don't go throwing huge amounts of money at an idea until you actually know there's a market for it. And that's the first mistake I think a lot of people make. And we're probably guilty of a bit of that now, of going too deep on some things before we validate it, because we've got the ability to do so.
You've got the workshop out the back.
Well, that's one part of it. It's more just you've got the finances and you've got the resources to experiment and play with things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do have to kind of slap yourself and go, hang on a minute, we may not be right here. Let's actually start testing the waters and talking to our customers and finding out if that's something they will really want.
Learn, because of the scale though of the business, you learn things that we wouldn't be able to learn like fast, which is something like when we went into moto, you'd say, "Oh, do you think people want to use your product on their motorcycle or whatever?" So
it's not too far.
It's not too far from what we're doing, and we even did things like, okay. So people want to do it, but just the way we sell it convert to motorcycle people. Like that's an assumption. But then we can do things really quickly. Like, okay, we've got a bike mount, and we know people are using it on a motorcycle. Well, that triggers our interest. But then we go, what if we tried to sell our bicycle product to some motorcycle people the way we sell it now? Make a product page, run some ads, put people to it, and go, oh, geez, this is really interesting. Not the perfect product yet for them.
Yes.
But you go straight away. It's better than a Kickstarter. You go, under real market conditions, people want to buy this through the system we already have.
Yep.
We just need to get that widget right. We need to get that product right. And then we go get the product right. And then you could Kickstarter that at that stage, right?
Yes.
Once you've got it all done. But I sort of think at a certain point, it depends where you are in the journey, but we could Kickstart it, or we could just launch the thing and, no one knows your sales, no one knows what's going on.
Yeah, that's
but,
true.
It'd be a pretty massive kick. Like you don't, to do $500,000 worth of sales or $1 million worth of sales, you don't have to do it.
Yeah.
You can just launch it like a normal product and start selling it through your normal channels. And because I think if we were to Kickstart a product like that, you're thinking Kickstarter, you're thinking,
launch.
Going to blogs, you're thinking launch, you're thinking
updates,
rewards, you're thinking updates, you're thinking all this stuff. Yeah, press.
Yeah, a lot of extra work.
And how many times do you see Kickstarters go and they get into the real world where they have to start going, okay, today I have to wake up and go and find another 300 customers or something, or 1,000 customers or whatever they need to keep going. They don't find them like they used to.
Yeah.
Because they know how to run Kickstarters.
Yeah.
Where as soon as you get to the market, under market conditions, you start learning, hang on, this is how we launch this product. This is how we convert these people.
Yeah.
And I know, like, when we did Moto, I think we changed the video, like, a bunch of times until it started working.
Yeah.
All we would have done is push back a couple of months on that.
Yeah.
And then we get to what's really interesting, whereas we have, this sort of system running and it's producing big results every day in a scalable way, which we can just keep running. And if anything, we can add into that where, it's not that big spike of a Kickstarter and a big stop. And then, so I think that's where now I find that part of it really interesting.
Yeah.
And I also find it really interesting that it's talked about less a lot of the time because it's public. Oh, you see, $500,000 come in 30 days and this, that, and the other thing. But all that's possible just without a Kickstarter. You can do it all just the same.
It's changed a lot since when we first used it. It's a very competitive space now on Kickstarter.
For sure.
We chat to a lot of people that are putting Kickstarter projects together and help them out with a bit of advice.
Yeah. Well, me and you sat down when we did ours. Yeah. You were kind enough to sit down with us. Yeah.
But you talked about the time of when they've put up their first draft. They look in the search results, and by the time they've gone through and checked a few things and refreshed it, like 1,500 other projects have gone up in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Insane, the volume. So there's a lot of noise on there. You've got to break through to really become popular, and you've got to put so much more effort in and even money now to the marketing side of it to get that traffic.
You got to do a polished video. You got to do it really right.
And when you are getting successful, these other marketing companies will come out of the woodwork saying, "We'll take X amount of your campaign if we can help you promote it."
Yeah.
So it is a very more marketing focused engine now, more so than just validation.
Yeah.
But there's also downsides to becoming super popular if it's your first product as well. Like I've seen a lot of products that have gone exceptionally well, and the guys just weren't ready to take it to market as quickly as they should have. And before they can get it to market, someone else has come along with a competitive product or a dead rip-off and just taken the carpet the rug out from under their feet because they just weren't prepared for it.
Yeah, like Fidget Cube.
Exactly.
Fidget Cube.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got smashed.
Oh, there's tons of them. There's a long list. Yeah.
So you got to be you got to make sure it's the right platform, the right time for you. Yeah.
So, you guys would still say though, if you were just getting started, maybe Kickstarter is a good potential opportunity?
Definitely, yeah. For market validation, it still does what it needs to do, but just make sure you're prepared for it.
Yep.
Yeah, and you can't just, I think a lot of people just think you can put an idea on Kickstarter and it becomes successful. Yeah. There's a whole lot more work behind the scenes to get the traffic there.
Expect to have to bring your own audience. That's what we tell everyone all day long.
Yeah. Even if you can have a launch party with some friends, that all helps.
Everything
definitely
helps.
Build the audience as big as you can before you even launch. Yeah.
Interesting. So, talk to me around manufacturing. You guys manufacture out of China.
Mm-hmm.
How would you recommend someone get started? Do they go to China? Do they just go on Alibaba, do a small MOQ? What's your thoughts, takes on all that side of things?
I reckon the initial, the first port of call is probably Alibaba's a good place to start looking.
Yep.
If you know what you're manufacturing, there's going to be similar products out there already.
Yep.
Alibaba's a good place to find manufacturers that already make those types of products. That's your best starting point.
Yep.
Contact as many as you can, and just find out what they do, what they can produce, get some idea of costings.
Yep.
But before you even get to that level, you've done your groundwork on your design and detailing, so you've got a finished product ready to go. And then once you've nailed down 5-10 manufacturers, if you've never been to China, it's definitely worth going over there and sussing them out. Because on Alibaba, there's not just manufacturers. There's people posing as manufacturers. So they may be...
Sourcing agents.
Sourcing agents or marketing agents.
Yep.
There's lots of opportunistic guys out there that know how to market but are not necessarily manufacturers. And there's a lot of manufacturers that don't know how to market.
Yes.
So you get that guy in between who sees the opportunity and he says, hey, so you're making toothbrushes. This guy says, yep, we're the biggest toothbrush manufacturing company in Shenzhen.
Yeah.
He'll take your part, get a quote from a few suppliers and put his margin on it and go back and say, yeah, we can make them for you. But you don't know how many people are in that chain. So by going there and meeting with the suppliers you've met on Alibaba,
or if it is a sourcing agent, knowing they're a sourcing agent.
If they're being honest about it.
Which is nothing wrong with that either.
Sourcing agents are great. We use one.
Yep.
They can definitely help with the communication, and especially if like us, we're dealing with so many factories.
Yeah, you guys got serious volume.
Yeah, and lots of, and as times change, we've moved through different manufacturers as well.
Yep.
So you think it'd get easier, but it seems to just keep getting harder.
Yeah, wow. So you guys use multiple different factories.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
lots.
Wow.
I think there's probably, I was going through the list the other day, and haven't even finished it. There's like at least 15, 20 for all different things we use. Yeah.
Wow. And how do you maintain quality control?
Yeah, it's tough. Yep. You got to have good processes in place, multiple checkpoints where it's QCing.
Yep.
And just the first part of it is vetoing your factories in the first place to make sure you're dealing with factories that make quality parts.
Yep.
So the simplest way to do that is if you're finding a factory that makes similar products to what you want to produce, is look at the brand name companies they make parts for.
Yep.
That's your dead giveaway sign. But that also has a seesaw effect. If you're dealing with companies or factories that make big brands, they're going to want decent quantities. So you may not be at a point where
for resource.
Yeah, and you may not be at a point where you can justify their minimum quantities.
Yeah.
So they may not be interested in quoting on your product because they know you're starting out. So you've really got to find a balance between quality and price point and factory size, and also communication and all that adds into the equation to enable you to output the product you need at the quantities and at the price point. The quality, so it's all just there's a lot of factors that go into it, but Alibaba's a great starting point.
And I'm curious, during, obviously one thing I think is brilliant about your guys' product is you guys coincide off the iPhone launches, and when these new, even the Samsung, but more so Apple, when these new products go out, they do the big product launch, which means you guys got to gear up for that too. And that would be, I'm assuming, quite stressful, and you've got a lot going on, and you're going to have to pre-order crap tons of stock in anticipation for this. Do you guys, do one of you guys go over then oversee, or usually to China or Shenzhen or oversee manufacturing? Or you don't have to, or you've got it to a point where you send,
we've gone over many times to check out factories and talk to our agent over there.
Yep.
It's difficult to be there for the manufacturing cycles because there's so many variables that could span from a week to a month or so, and it's hard to get as much work done over there as it is being over here with having the whole team. So we probably should be there more often than we are, but the guys that we have over there we trust, and we're in daily communication with them. We use a good project management tool where we're constantly sharing updates and photos and videos and schedules and things like that.
Yeah, wow.
But that's always a balancing act. But yeah, getting stuff out at the timing point, because it's not just us that want to make cases.
Yeah.
There's lots of other manufacturers that want to make cases.
Yeah.
And
all at the same time.
the pressure is on. So
Yeah.
it's in the factories over in China that manufacture any iPhone related products at the moment.
Yep.
They're at peak capacity, just trying to schedule machines and get people in.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And even getting stuff shipped out is a nightmare. Like people are booking
getting space hard.
on ships and planes to know that they can move their product out before the timing for iPhone launches. Conveniently, China goes on a week long. It's Golden Week coming up before the iPhone launch. I don't know if Apple planned that on purpose, but that happens every year, so that's something you've got to take into account.
Yeah, those Chinese holidays, they get you.
Seem to have more and more each year. It's amazing.
Yeah, interesting. So, another thing I want to talk to you guys about is one thing you guys are quite good at is identifying trends. Obviously, you picked the trend of crowdfunding and Kickstarter, and you were some of the first to market there. But then you guys were actually also some of the first to start using Facebook ads for marketing, and even Facebook did a case study on you guys. So I'm just
trendsetters.
Trendsetters. That's what I'm really curious around. What do you think is next on the horizon? What interests you guys in terms of marketing, getting your products out there? And in the cryptocurrency space, blockchain technology, I'm curious. I saw you did a funny video on
Quad
that.
coin.
It's going. Get on board now.
I think I spent a fair bit of time thinking about this, and I think that there's the disruption that's happened in media and that kind of thing at the moment. Anyway, probably like things happen fast when they happen these days. When print came about, the Gutenberg press, that it wouldn't have happened that fast, right? People couldn't read. They put out printing. When radio came around, that took off pretty quick. TV took off quicker again, and like the Web 2.0 and things like that, social, that just took off super quick. So whatever happens in a really short amount of time. But if you think about the big shifts don't happen all the time. Like there might be a platform shift where, that sort of social web stuff goes from one platform to another. Just like people went from, watching, I don't know, something to watching HBO.
MySpace to Facebook.
MySpace to Facebook, all that kind of thing, right? That stuff's always happened. But when you talk about like new channels coming out, that doesn't happen that often. Like we're talking maybe 4 times the last 100 years or something like that. It's not often these things happen. So I think what is looking for when things change in the world, and then looking for what opportunities that open up. And I think a part of it is, so things changed. The crowdfunding's one. That was a newish idea. And we're not doing it to be trendy. We're doing it because it seems like a way of getting something done. Getting from here to where we need to be. And I think with
not as much noise.
Not as much noise. Facebook ads was a perfect example. I remember thinking, I wonder if people click on these little things and would on the side, because it was so basic. It was like a tiny little thumbnail, blue text at the top, and a little bit of black writing underneath it. I wonder if people click on that and would buy something from an e-commerce website. So, it seems stupid to say. But I was thinking, I wonder if that would happen. And so we'd play with it, try and learn. And I think what happens is there's all these experts out there working at these big agencies that have to buy a certain amount of media from 10 or from, Austereo or someone, and they've got these quotas to fill, and they pitch it to their clients, and there's this whole backbone, and there's this whole system set up selling, airtime to corporates and all this, and they're not even thinking about putting these little ads on Facebook or even what Facebook is going to be. So there's opportunity. And you're thinking, wow, there's so many people out here. Then you look into it and you go, you can target people. I can show my ads to people who actually care about this. I can start with $20 if I want. So you're just being curious.
Totally.
And you're looking for things that have changed. And when you're curious and you're looking for things that have changed, you're going to trip over the opportunity. And then when you trip over the opportunity, you're like, well, if we did that, and then we had a product and we made a cool product and then we put it on a website, and how much is an e-commerce website? And you see, something like Shopify come on, you're like, geez, for $30 a month or probably 19, I don't know what it was. We can be online selling something, and then you find that there's 3PLs out there, and then it's just the curiosity, I think, and looking and playing and, you know, looking under the hood, but coming at it with no preconception.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
maybe if we had a marketing background or a logistics background or a retail background, you would have all these other preconceived ideas, and you dismiss half. No, people want to go to a store to buy this. No, people buy stuff that's on. I remember talking to Christopher Pine, and he said, I still believe you communicate to people through newspaper, radio, and TV. This was only maybe 2 years ago. I don't know what planet he's on, but you know, there's a lot of people on the internet now, and a lot of people
no one
reading.
ever own a computer in their home. Either,
So I think at the end of the day, it's that curiosity, the willingness to be wrong, just trying stuff.
Trying new things, experimenting. And not really worrying about which way they'll go.
Just learning really
like
as quick as you can.
The whole, you know, this business wouldn't have existed if, you know, I managed to import one of the original iPhones from America because they didn't launch in Australia for the first version of it. And, you know, within a few days of using that, I'd come up with an idea for a product, which ultimately has become what Quadlocked is. But it's just that interest in new, inventive new things, whether it be technology, be it marketing, just being aware of what's going around and jumping on things early to try them out, because you just don't know where they'll take off. Get in there early.
And I think there's you know, you talk to a lot of people, and people want to get things right from the start, and that's like a crazy idea. I don't know how it's impossible to do it. You know, something done is better than not doing it all, because then you get a chance to do it better again, and that's I think that holds up a lot of people when you're talking about starting.
Of course, that perfectionism. You know?
But I mean, you got to ship it at some stage,
and you learn so much more by shipping your first product. Even if it's only like 70% as good as you want it to be, if it's still right, people hopefully will buy it, and then you'll get so much more valuable feedback from them to make your second version 10 times better than what your first version would have been if you tried to hold out and made it 100%. Because your ideas and your conceptions,
the whole business model.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Like the product's just one part, and I see so many people get stuck on that, just that one part, because a business doesn't work without multiple parts of it working. So, you know, it's easy to have the best marketing in the world with the worst product. Go nowhere. Have the best marketing, have the worst website to convert on. Have the best website, have shit marketing, no traffic. Have you can skew it every different way you want, and it cannot work. If you get everything working okay, you get a chance to make one of them better. You get it working better, you get a bit more of a chance to make another part of it better. And then you can get on this way where you just every single day, like we went and did a shoot this morning. We have a list of stuff that we're going to do different. We've done heaps of shoots, but we got there like, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. All right, Next time. Back. This goes on our list. We're going to make it better. And if you just do that every time, like, you're just getting that bit better, you know, converting better. And because often things don't get easier. And so now, you know, we used to be able to find, I remember when I'd be looking, be finding big wins everywhere all the time.
And it's easy to make, it's so much easier to make those changes early on. It's kind of like when you're small, you're this real nimble speedboat that's zipping along and you can change direction. And as you get into this big, heavy container ship, it's so much harder to change direction and implement change as quickly as you could.
I think I was speaking with, I wouldn't say it was someone 2 days ago. They said, oh, you know, you just have to accept as you get bigger, it's harder to change, you can't react. I said, no, I don't accept it. You can choose not to. And he's, but, you know, other companies. I'm like, well, that's good for other companies. They can be like that. But what we're doing, we want to be like this, and we want to be able to adapt quickly, and we're going to change it. So you're saying you can't do that for us? Oh, no, we can do that. We can do that. So, I mean, you can accept or you can try and, you know, push. And because I think that's why we're here in the first place.
The impact of the scale of those changes seems much greater when you're bigger. But I think if you weigh the percentages, they're probably a similar percentage impact, but, you know, it's got more zeros attached to it. So it's a harder decision to make, and you've got to be able to stomach changes that will maybe have an impact short term for a longer term gain, but it's a bigger decision to make because it puts a bigger dent in things when you make that call.
Speed is everything.
Well, time is the one resource you can't get more of.
Yeah, so, and when you're competing, and like you said, you guys got so many
people chasing.
Copying. Your competitive advantage is often speed and your marketing and your brand and your community, and that loyalty.
Yeah,
as
but
well.
one thing, even if they have, they can outdo us in a certain way because they have more money or more whatever. What they don't have is 6-7 years in the market. They can't just.
That experience.
How much money they have, they can't click their fingers and have that.
Yeah, totally understand. So we have to work towards wrapping up. A few final questions just around scale, because you guys are growing quite fast. You would have scaling challenges. Talk to us around that, with the amount of the amount of volume of units and that you're moving, and to keep building upon that, it gets harder and harder, right? So tell us around some of your problems around scale or challenges that you've had at the moment that you're working on overcoming.
There's a few.
Well, a really practical one is we got a call from our 3PL the other day and said, we need to ship your warehouse. You're going to be down for 3 days in the US. This is just the US.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Down for 3 days? We can't do that. Straight away, like, no, can't do it. And then it's coming into the busiest time. We're moving all the heaviest pick and pack people that they have in one of their oldest warehouses. They're going to move it to one of their newest warehouses. And because effectively, if they didn't move us coming into the season we're coming up with Black Friday and iPhone launches and Christmas time and all that, they're like, it's going to break. It's not going to work. So things like that are like, you'd think you get to a scale where those kind of little things don't come up. You've got, you're still working with partners and all that, and you think that, they're looking ahead, but they're not necessarily, and they get surprises, and, people get acquired, and then when you're talking about being down for 3 days, that's a lot of money for us these days. But at the same time, it's like, right, they're like, if you don't do it, we won't move you. We don't move you. We're the ones that have to wear the consequences, 2-3 months from now, and we could really be screwed. It's like, right now, like, how do we minimise the impact of this? What are we going to do? Come up with a creative idea to try and still get people in the cart, but, when they're in the cart, make sure they absolutely have to know that there's a 3-day shipping delay. We count that 3 day down. We're communicating with them, trying to work out when it is. Like, when you're selling 20-30 units a day, you could just be like, you could email every one of them, or you could deal with it. There's something else you can do. Where now, we can't already, we can't 2 days into this have 500 tickets come through for support saying, I don't think my order's shipped, I don't think this is going on. Like, you've got to manage it in a whole different way.
I think the flow-on effects of some of these things wouldn't have affected us back then, but now you've got to really take them into account when you make any kind of assumption or change on that. Because you do that wrong, and all of a sudden the huge amount of load that throws on the customer support team is massive, and if you did a few things differently, you would have avoided that. So you got to be real smart about that. And I think also one thing that's got us recently is how fast things can change and shift. Like ordering stock, you're based off your run rates, and you're looking at your historical data of how that goes. And then you go, that stock we'll order that much stock, that'll get us through to that month.
That's been from day one though, really.
Yeah, you can see it recently. Like, but it didn't take account for this last month. Where if you're looking at run rate over the past 3 months, you might have a certain number. But if you look at it like that, those last few weeks is what you should really be going off, and then you should have ordered heaps more because of the way that product's growing. So you got to be aware of the small changes as well as the big changes. And how
we've had the chat where it goes, actually, can we make as many as we're selling at a certain point? It's like, actually no, like, it could be that getting sales isn't the actual, what's stopping you. It could be that now we're at a point where can we make enough units per day to keep up with even what we're ordering as many as we can, but we haven't kept up. So there's lots of different things.
Maxing out supply.
And
also working with our partners to make sure they're able to grow with us. And if they're not willing to, definitely find alternatives, because if they're going to be a bottleneck to a certain aspect of your business, you don't want to let that be them the reason why you can't continue to scale. So.
Yeah, that sounds scary, to be honest.
I think the thing with business is you don't talk to many businesses and say, we're going to give you shitloads more work. like, are you okay with? No one says no.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever said no to you?
Yeah.
We're going to pay you heaps more. No.
But
Well, what happens is, do they put in the measures
Yeah.
to be in the position where, you know, like this is right from the top of the business to the bottom of the business. Do they put in the measures to be in the position that they should be in to keep giving you the level of service that they need to give you? Like the shipping one is a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's no. It gets to crisis point. Something breaks. Admittedly, they're trying to fix it.
Yeah.
And you have to try and help them fix it because...
And you also help them by painting the picture of what the future looks
Yeah.
like too. So
Yeah.
forecasting volumes and when you're going to have big flows of massive stock moves and things like that, you've got to help them help themselves as much as you can. And you can give them a bit of rope, but if they don't follow through a few times, then you've got to have a backup plan. You need a plan B.
It's an awareness thing as well. Like, I know we've had some meetings, and I still think of us as sort of a small company, which we are, but then you hear, and we're like, we're doing this at that level, and you go, well, that's more than another company that you hear about, and you're like, oh, okay. That sort of puts it in scale, you know. If you're...
I think you said a few times, you by default, you automatically think that you're doing not as good as everyone else out there.
I think you just presume everyone's... everyone's doing really well.
Yeah.
And everyone is, you know, doing that, doing this, having that work, having this pay off, you know, struggling with these things. And then the more you start talking and you know, you talk to different suppliers and you're like, oh, okay, that's not your issue, that's your issue. Okay, that's... Yeah, we do a lot more than that.
I think one thing I've learned is that no matter how big the business is, nothing's working in chaos unison.
No.
Yeah,
Everything's
got
in chaos.
issues, challenges.
Yeah.
It's like reading the Everything Store book about Amazon. You know,
Yeah.
they're in chaos forever. And I don't think they'll ever get out of it.
Oh, we do.
But-
Like, we literally, Ben would send multiple emails to Amazon every single day trying to
Why?
get stuff in. Because they're in chaos.
They always have been. Though,
Like,
yeah.
it's just a nightmare.
It's just nothing's ever...
Nothing works.
You just assume, you look at good companies and you're like, oh, everything must be running like clockwork.
Yeah.
But it's like the swan on top of the water's all nice and calm, but down below, kicking like crazy, trying to keep things afloat.
Yeah.
I think that just applies to just about every person I've spoken to.
I think you think as you grow, you'll be able to smooth these things out.
That's what you tell yourself.
Yeah, it doesn't work like that. Yeah,
The problems just get bigger.
Yeah, that's what you tell yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you work towards.
Yeah.
We'll get these amount of people. We get, you know.
Yeah, you think oh, we'll get this agency involved to do this.
Yeah.
We'll get these people to do that. Then you realise you might have to work harder to get it to achieve what you need to achieve.
Yeah.
You can't just, you know, no one's ever going to care as much as you do.
Yeah,
I think that's
definitely.
the other thing.
Yeah.
So talk to me around team building and your leadership team. You guys would be starting to build out your leadership team now at the kind
We're
of...
pretty flat structure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing I find interesting is basically most of your team is here, in Melbourne, right?
Yeah.
For Foundr, for us, I've personally found it's hard to find great talent. So I actually don't care now where somebody's from. I'll hire them and make them a remote person and just kind of slot it in and make it work. How have you guys kind of dealt with kind of resource and finding...
Probably, I reckon everyone being here is probably more a reflection on our management style.
Yeah.
They've just
Well, we have our core team
comfortable with
here
it.
of stuff that we
All do here.
in-house. But we've definitely got a lot of stuff that we outsource.
Yep.
And they're more remote workers.
Yep.
It depends on the task that you're doing. I think having someone in-house is definitely more efficient to get things done for what the core aspects of the
Collaboration.
business.
Yep.
But for things that can be outsourced, we definitely would do so when the opportunity arises.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is tricky to find good people. Like, recruitment's a tough part for any company.
Yeah.
But you also got to be willing to put in to the people as
train
well.
them up. Yeah.
That's a big one.
Yeah, so you find that you look to find people with experience or people that you can mould from the ground up?
Depends on the role.
Yeah, it depends on what. When we've gone out to try get a whole heap of experience.
Yes.
And I remember a job description we had, and I think I just was shopping around with people, and like it was 3 or 4 people in a row told me like, "There's no one does that.
Yeah.
No one does all that
In one person.
in one person." And
Yeah.
you're like, okay, and you sort of ignore it.
Yeah.
Keep looking. Someone else says the exact same. Oh no, not one person will do all that. And then
Well, they might.
realize,
They're just extremely hard to find.
yeah, and then you realise, or people just tell you like, no, there's none in Melbourne that
Yeah.
you'll be happy with, or there's none here,
Yeah.
there's none here. But then you can find someone that is keen or interested,
Yep.
and try and work it out together. Because I think the main thing is that, you know, everything's changing all the time.
Yeah.
There's parts of the business that are more, I don't know what you call it.
Static.
Traditional.
Yeah.
Maybe traditional, conventional.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's other parts that are changing all the time, and it's trying to work out how to do that. But then even in the you know, you could say something like accounting.
Yep.
Like we have to account. But then when we started this, I just think you go to an accountant, you go to a big accounting firm, and they'll help you out. And then it's like, oh, but we've got to do VAT tax. We're selling from, you know, from UK into the EU, and we're doing that. And then you realise these are big companies, and they're working it out for the first time for you on your dollar, because at the end of the day, actually, you know, 10 years ago, it was only, you know, big multinational, big
that needed
companies that had that kind of, you know, reach in the world. And now, you know, we'll probably, you know, only a couple $1 million, or when we started, whatever we were, selling to, you know, 150 countries in our first 3 months.
Yeah, wow.
And that's normal now.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a normal job, accounting, but nowadays you've got to understand tax law all throughout the world. You've got to, you know, be more analytical. You want to be able to learn stuff that you never would.
But you have to learn stuff. Like, you can't rely on these people. So I remember one time we had our accountancy firm that we were using, and we were asking them some international taxation questions, and they got their international taxation expert in, and he's come back with this big spiel. And obviously didn't do as much Googling as we did, because we've come back and gone, actually, you find that you've just what reported was superseded in 2008. This is the new law. Here's the link. And he's like, oh, yeah, no, you're right. Even though we've just paid them thousands of dollars for this expert to tell us stuff.
But at the end of the day,
ourselves, like,
no one's an expert.
No, but
we're all just working it out as we go along.
How far how deep do they want to go on this? How much care they put
It's totally like that.
Yeah.
So I think as soon as you realise that, it could be that, you know, that, I don't know, what's wrong? It could be that we have a part-time cleaner on the weekend, and actually he's got potential to be the best GM out of everyone here. But we don't know, because I don't think going and doing an MBA puts you in a better spot to do.
That'd be pretty good, Ken.
Yeah, I think he'd be great. You know, he's a good guy. He's got a good business. But what I mean is, you know, subscribing to the old way that, okay, they've gone and they've studied this and they've ticked these boxes, therefore they do this role. I don't necessarily believe that's accurate, and I don't necessarily believe someone is better for that. Do they have experience? Yeah, that can be great. With experience comes a lot of preconceived ideas and assumptions as well. So what you want is people who are willing to, you know, buck the status quo, work things out as they go, want to get better, want to learn, realise that we're in a constant state of flux, and that things are going to change, and that we just have to do the best we can with that situation that we're in at that time, and realise in 6 months it's going to be different again.
Awesome, guys. So look, this has been an awesome conversation. Kind of the last question I want to ask you guys is, where's the best place people can find out more about yourselves and your work?
Quadlockcase.com is a good starting point for the product.
Definitely, yeah. I'm at Robbie Ward, and
I'm at CPLicious. You can spell that one.
Yeah, on Twitter, Instagram.
All the same.
All the same.
Check out Rob's blog, robbieward.com.
No, don't do that. I don't think it's got much content.
Hasn't been updated in a while.
Awesome. All right. Well, look, thank you so much, fellas, for having us. And great conversations. Thanks so much for sharing and taking the time.
Awesome, man.
Thanks for being a founder.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thanks so much, guys.
We'll do it over beer next time.
Yeah.